Good afternoon and welcome back to Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Closing Bell. I'm Santosh Nair.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
The indices managed to maintain the winning streak for the fourth successive session. The benchmark Nifty and Sensex opened on a lackluster note, and it was widely expected that they too would end lower in line with the weakness seen in global markets. However, that was not to be. A late afternoon rally saw the indices close in the green. However, volumes still continue to be a bit lackluster. Overall, banks, auto and FMCG shares were among the best performers today, whereas shares from the realty, pharma and IT and metal spaces were under pressure. The India Volatility Index rose by about 1% to 12.46. Among the gainers today, we had IndusInd Bank, Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports, Bajaj Auto and M&M, whereas among the prominent losers, we had Bajaj Finance, Hindalco, Tech Mahindra, Apollo Hospital Services and Infosys.
So, one interesting fact, and first of all, happy Women's Day to all our viewers and Moneycontrol Pro subscribers. There are 15 years history that suggests that most probably on the Women's Day when the markets are open, we are excluding the holidays on which the Women's Day is celebrated. But out of the last 15 instances, this is the 11th instance where the markets have shut in the green.
So, women power, you would say,
yes,
Yatin?
Yes, or maybe traders are less stressed on the Women's Day occasion, or maybe the bias to buy things and buy stocks goes up. So it's best to the judgment of them that how really things move. But today was an interesting market day. Banking saw a lot of action. And Santo, one interesting news bit that our colleague Lata Venkatesh broke on CNBC TV 18, that IndusInd Bank's CEO tenure will be extended by 3 years, and the RBI is most likely on board with this extension. And if Mr. Sumant gets the extension, the market was anticipating a 12 months, 24 months kind of extension. But if a 3-year extension comes, that is quite good for the stock, and probably that is the reason why the stock flied almost 5% in trade, closing at the day's high.
Well, quite a long way the stock has come from 3 years back, when just after the Yes Bank fiasco, there was chatter in the market that probably IndusInd Bank was the next in line. Things were looking so dire at one point. From there to here, it's been quite a remarkable turnaround for the bank. Well, that said, let's take a quick look at some of the stocks that caught our attention and trade today, starting off with Bajaj Auto. Now, the stock was at one point during the day, the stock was standing firm in a weak lackluster market, although when you compare the indices at the end of the day, which also closed in the green, probably the outperformance doesn't stand out much. But nevertheless, things appear to be slowly turning a corner for Bajaj Auto. It had fallen quite sharply till last week, but since there it has gained close to about 3 to 4 percentage points. Now, a lot of negative news flow also around Bajaj Auto. There was some news about the company having cut its production because of weakness in the export market, which the company later denied. JP Morgan is among the brokerages which are positive on Bajaj Auto. It has an overweight rating on Bajaj Auto with a price target of 4,400 rupees, and according to Bajaj Auto, probably the worst may now be behind for Bajaj Auto, and exports have bottomed out, and probably a recovery could be seen from the second quarter of next fiscal. Also, the Federation of Association of Automobile Dealers have also sounded quite positive on two-wheeler sales, and they have said that they are positive in their outlook for both two-wheeler as well as passenger vehicles. And lastly, according to JP Morgan, the valuations fairly offer a good risk-reward ratio at current levels.
Absolutely. So, obviously Bajaj Auto की अगर हम बात करें तो इनके एक्सपोर्ट मार्केट्स इजिप्ट, श्रीलंका और नाइजीरिया, ये तीनों ही एक पॉलिटिकल क्राइसिस में चले गए थे. श्रीलंका की तो हमको पता है, नाइजीरिया में अभी इलेक्शंस कंक्लूड होने वाले हैं बहुत जल्द. इजिप्ट में ऑब्वियसली थोड़ा बहुत इशू हो गया था क्योंकि एक मिलिट्री डिक्टेटरशिप ने टेक ओवर कर लिया था. उसके बाद काफ़ी सारे बदलाव हुए इकनॉमी में. फॉरेन एक्सचेंज भी इन सब कंट्रीज़ में आपूर्ता नहीं है, जिसके कारण इंपोर्ट करना मोटरसाइकिल्स काफ़ी डिफिकल्ट हो गया था, और दैट एक्सप्लेन्स द रीज़न वाई बजाज ऑटो के वॉल्यूम्स में क्यों गिरावट आई. लेकिन सैंटो आज एक स्टॉक फोकस में था, वो था किर्लोस्कर ऑयल इंजन्स. ये स्टॉक लगभग 3-4% की बढ़त के साथ खुला और 20% की सर्किट यहाँ लगती हुई आपको नजर आई। क्यों ये स्टॉक मूव आया? इसका सिंपल रीज़न ये है कि आपने देखा ब्लॉक विंडो में लगभग 2 करोड़ शेयर की एक बड़ी ट्रेड हुई और ये ट्रेड होने के बाद स्टॉक में मोमेंटम बढ़ा। न्यूज़ रिपोर्ट्स के हिसाब से कुलकर्णी फैमिली जो किर्लोस्कर फैमिली के साथ को प्रमोटर है, उन्होंने पूरी तरीके से ये शेयर को एग्जिट कर लिया है। अगर आप ट्रेडर्स की माने, एचएनआईस की माने, तो ये एक ओवरहैंग बना हुआ था स्टॉक पे, कभी कुलकर्णी फैमिली एग्जिट हो, और जैसे ही वो शेयर्स बाजार में बिके प्रॉब्ली आज आपको एक बड़ा अपटिक इसीलिए नज़र आता हुआ इसमें पड़ा। किर्लोस्कर ऑयल इंजन स्टॉक आज नए रिकॉर्ड हाइस के आसपास आता हुआ नज़र पड़ रहा है। रिकॉर्ड हाई नहीं, लेकिन मल्टी ईयर हाई पे तो होगा ही ये स्टॉक, लेकिन क्लियरली एक बड़ा इवेंट कंपनी के साथ हुआ जिसके बाद सैंटोस स्टॉक में एक ज़बरदस्त मूव।
Well, for today, Yatin, it was largely the technical factors which was driving, or for rather for the last couple of months, chatter around when the overhang issue would be settled. That was what was driving interest in the stock. But here on, it will have to be the fundamentals which will have to do the heavy lifting, and the numbers, as I look at it, have been just about steady for the last many quarters now. Not much of an improvement, although the company has managed to hold on to its operating profit margin at about 16% odd, but net profit growth has been pretty steady, nothing spectacular out there. Stock is quoting at close to about 17 times trailing 12-month earnings. So it will be interesting to see how the market looks at the stock from here on, now that one major hurdle is out of the way.
Correct.
Well, and the last stock on our watch list this afternoon is EIH. Stock gained about 5% in trade today and was a clear outperformer. Now, overall, the commentary from most hotel companies have been fairly positive, and whether be it Indian Hotels or Lemon Tree, the outlook on margins is pretty positive. Indian Hotels said that in an interview to CNBC TV18 last week, said that it was optimistic of a 33% operating margin and that it could be sustained. Lemon Tree is even more optimistic. It has said that it expects margin to be in the vicinity of around 50%, and also it expects room rents to rise for every year for the next 4 years. Now, EIH has also had a strong third quarter performance. Overall revenues were up 63%, and also revenue per available room showed a very sharp increase, roughly about 27-28%. So this is pretty much in line with what the general trend across the hotel industry. And Yatin, this is not just a India specific trend. If you look across Asia, in fact, room rates have been going through the roof, and most international chains too have been reporting increase of almost 8 to 10% increase in their room rates on a quarterly basis.
In fact, Santo, China opening up has been a big thing. Their air travel data shows that the traveling is much higher than the pre-COVID era. And Disneyland, reported record footfalls, in fact, double of what they usually do normally in China. Obviously, if you go to a lot of Indian theme parks, the likes of Wonderla, I think they reported a very strong set of earnings wherein, they said that the footfall is improving. It's not about hotels, but the entire leisure industry is doing fantastically well. If you look at the air traffic data for India also, it has been quite strong. And wherever air data, which is easily available, when it moves up, the economic activity moves up, and hence the hotel occupancy rates also moves up. Because there are a mix of business travelers, there is a mix of leisurely travelers, but across the board, you are looking at good data which is emerging, especially for the Asian countries and the likes of India. And one more thing, I think the management of Indian Hotels mentioned, Santo, that hotel industry में particularly कोई capacity add नहीं हुई है. There have been no new hotels built in the last 3-4 years. The capacity addition is very slow versus the demand which is rising rapidly. तो शायद ये एक फैक्टर है जो सपोर्ट कर सकता है रूम रेंटल्स को.
Same thing which the Lemon Tree CEO also said, that demand is growing at almost 10% per annum, whereas room addition is happening at just about 5% per annum. In the case of EIH also, the targeted room increase is just about 748 keys till FY27. And at present it has about 4,247. So the increase is what, barely about 20% over the next 3 years. And besides that, while EIH hotels may be looking to increase capacity, it will be largely through the managed or the contract route, which means that it will not be taking a lot of assets on its books. And according to Moneycontrol Pro, the valuations appear quite reasonable at roughly about 16 times EV to EBITDA for FY24 estimated earnings.
Absolutely. So this is one stock which will be on the focus radar, but the other stock that is on my radar is Max Health. जेफरीज की आज एक रिपोर्ट आई है मैक्स हेल्थ पे 530 रुपीज़ के टारगेट के साथ. सो फ्रॉम द करंट मार्केट प्राइस 100 रुपीज़ की अपसाइड जेफरीज को लगती है स्टॉक में पॉसिबल है, क्योंकि ये 500 नए बेड्स और 1500 नए बेड्स FY24 से FY25 के बीच में ऐड करने वाले हैं. एग्रेसिव एक्सपेंशन प्लान्स है, प्लस इट विल बी सीन दैट हाउ रियली दे ब्रेक इवन, बिकॉज जिस हिसाब से मैक्स की ऑक्यूपेंसी रेट रही है, इनका ब्रेक इवन दूसरे ट्रेडिशनल होटल से बेटर या फास्टर होता है. तो कहीं ना कहीं ये जो एक्सपेंशन प्लान है काफ़ी एक्साइटिंग है. वी ऑल्सो स्पोक टू द मैनेजमेंट ऑफ मैक्स हेल्थ केयर, और उनका भी यही कहना है कि कोई पर्टिकुलर इक्विटी डाइल्यूशन की ज़रूरत एज ऑफ नाउ नहीं दिखती है, क्योंकि इंटरनल अक्रूवल से ही पैसा जमा हो जाएगा एक्सपेंशन प्लान के लिए, विच इज़ अ गुड थिंग. विदाउट डाइल्यूशन आपको एक बड़े एक्सपेंशन का जो लाभ है वो मिलने वाला है. तो कहीं ना कहीं ये स्टॉक काफ़ी सारे ब्रोकरेजेस के रेडार पे आ चुका है.
Also, with now COVID behind, clearly most hospital chains were suffering because of the lack of elective surgery. So that is now expected to pick up pace. The stock somehow has been struggling for a while now. It was quoting around 400 rupees in April last year, and it's still just about 440. So it remains to be seen if Jefferies report can trigger a change of heart among investors. Well, that's all that we have in this episode of Closing Bell. Thank you for watching.
जुड़ने के लिए बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद.
We'll be back with you again tomorrow at 9 a.m. In the meantime, for all news, views, analysis, stay logged on to moneycontrol.com.